Can the boys finish off this Easter long weekend with a win? God knows we need it, but you can watch the team take on Parramatta Eels this Easter Monday, live and loud from the lounge or sports bar at West Ashfield, home of the West Tigers. They are proud to be able to provide ongoing support to 30 local organisations in the field of sport and arts. Step up and play at the home of West Tigers, West Ashfield, 115 Liverpool Road, Ashfield. For more information, visit West Ashfield's website at www.westashfield.com.au or give them a follow on Facebook or Instagram at West Ashfield. We are live, everybody. Welcome to our very special occasion on the WestsLife Podcast, our very first ever live stream shows. We're seeing a few people dropping in to listen now. As always, we are sponsored by West Ashfield Leagues, the best place to watch the game live and loud on Saturday nights. And as always, please give us a follow on the socials at WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and shouts to the Patreon members on patreon.com/WestsLife. And if you're watching on YouTube now, be a good sport and give us a subscribe. So we cracked 100 subs the other day, so go us. Big show tonight. So I just noticed our first guest has dropped into the room. But first, my co-host, one of my co-hosts is here tonight. I bet he's really fired up, ready to talk Justin Pascoe, or lack thereof. Rob Bashara, welcome to our first live streamed episode. What could go wrong?
Good evening, Josh. Good evening, everyone. I'm all Pascoed out, mate. I don't know if I've got any more Pascoe left to vent. Hopefully the Ventors can do that for me, and we can talk about plenty of different subjects tonight and be some therapy for the best fan base in the world.
Shane's not here. Funny enough, he is in the top end, and that was a complete fluke. He's not looking for Justin Pascoe. He might find him. God help him, Justin Pascoe, if he does. But no, he's holidaying with his lovely partner Sam. He's taking a break mid-season as well. A bit more appropriate for someone who works with water pumps rather than someone who runs a rugby league club. But we'll get into that soon. So, Rob, we'll get straight into it. So, is there any other opinions? We'll kick this one because no one. Funny enough, we got everyone that coming on the show tonight to tell us what topic they wanted to talk about, and because we wanted a good variety, we didn't want, and we got such a good variety that we haven't got the ones that we were expecting. So I'll let you say, you actually came out on Twitter today. You shocked all of our listeners when you said you think it's not that big a deal. So is there anything else you have to say about it? So you're just on the boat of it's totally fine, other than the joke that you made that you wish you stayed up there.
Look, if we're about to sack Madge, then yeah, it's a problem him being there. But we've lost our first 5 games. Theoretically, we can win the next 15 or so and be in contention. So if he's waiting for us to have a win, he'd be putting his holiday back a few months, I reckon. So I don't have a big deal with it. And I think he's made enough bad decisions, over 7 years that he warrants constructive criticism on that. To have his family holiday, I got no problem with it. And trust me, there's no one that wants Pascoe gone more than me. But I just think it's absolute storming the teacup. So, let him enjoy his time over there. And as I've said, he spent 7 years at the bottom end at West Tigers, so let him enjoy the top end for a little bit.
Right, we're going to go through the team list. Gareth, do you want to go? Gareth you're the first one to drop into the chat, mate. Do you want to do the team list with us? Are you ready to go? Give a thumbs up on your camera. Righto. So welcome to Gareth, and I'll just bring up the team. How are you going tonight on this Thursday evening, Gareth?
Oh, I've got one eye on the Raiders-Cowboys game, but, it's...
So does Rob.
Same here, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not the fullback tonight, am I? Right.
The fullback?
Yeah.
No, you're the first hit up, mate. You're the big boy.
Does that mean
Does that
mean you're going to do a backflip at a skate park, or you got COVID? What does that mean?
I did get COVID, but I can't do a backflip, so...
Never can I. Couldn't even dream of it. So let's go through the team list. If I can bring it up here. So our boys this week. So obviously Dane Laurie is back at fullback. David Nofaluma and Stafford Toa are the wingers. James Roberts and Luke Garner, who's not actually centre, is wearing the jersey number of a centre this week. Luke Brooks, of course, has moved to the number 6. Jackson Hastings comes back in the number 7. We'll see if that makes a difference. Jimmy Tarmow and Zane Musgrove are starting props. Jake Simpkin at hooker. Back rowers Kelma Tuolagi and Luciano Leilua. Joe Offengawi at lock. The bench is Jock Madden, who all of us on here were hoping he kind of stayed on the side, albeit he's on the bench, with Alex Twal. Thomas McKaylee's back and Alex Seyfarth. So a lot of names in those reserves. So Peachy, Little, Gildart, Mamalo, Simpkins, Tupou, and Diaz are the outsiders there. Gareth, you're the guest on the show. Where there's a lot of changes this week. Where did you want to start? What shocked you the most in there?
The fact that they actually moved Brooks to 6, that's one that shocked me. For some reason, this club's persisted with him at 7 for how many years now? And yeah, my opinion on it, he doesn't look like a halfback. He doesn't look like, if you look at the other halfbacks in the NRL, the successful ones, you can see them barking orders at their players. Our attack's been so out of shape this season. I've not seen enough shape, and to me, that's the job of the halfback. Well, from what I understand it from the commentators. So.
Rob, your thoughts on the Brooks move?
I just think it's all cosmetic. I mean, you play a left half and you play a right half. So whether he's got 6 or 7 on makes no difference, unless, as I've said on Twitter today, unless Jacko is going to be first receiver on both sides of the ruck. Now, if that's the case, then that's fine. The other option too is it could be a smoke screen, because I don't know how Madden's lost his spot. Perhaps Madden starts and Brooks comes from the bench and plays as a hooker, second fiddle to Simpkin. Really not sure how it's going to pan out, but I actually think it's bad for Madden to be dropped. I think the reason he's been dropped is to play that backup for Simpkin and be fresh to come on as a dummy half, if that's the case. But it just could be smoke screens. Who knows with Madge?
Yep. the centres, guys. So we thought Luke Garner at centre was a bit of a band-aid solution, but this week he's been named in the centre role for officially rather than a late call up. Gareth, how have you found him playing in centres? Is this madness? Or what?
Well, who's the better option there that's not currently injured? So,
yeah, good point.
Yeah, he can fill in. He can. Well, obviously, attack doesn't seem to be a priority at the moment for the team. So if they're just out there to stick him out there as a defensive centre and a Bo Scott sort of role, then I haven't really minded it too much.
Rob, the last couple of weeks, you've been a big fan of his defense.
Yeah, but as Gareth said, I mean, you just get no attack with him there. So he's done a great job with his defence. His tackling's been great. I'm not sure which way the Parramatta centre is going to line up, but it might be a good thing for us if he's marking Niokore, because basically you've got a forward playing in the centres for them as well, although he's got a little bit more speed than Luke Garner. So we'll just see how Parra line up. Hopefully we've got the forward on the forward and, Penasini on Roberts, if that's how we line up. On Mamalo, I get why he was dropped. His attitude was terrible. But for us, I think we needed him there. I actually think, and then maybe we could have played Toa in the centres. But the one good thing that's come out of this whole setup is I love the fact that we've got 3 middles on the bench. So as long as Madge uses them properly and doesn't, save safe after the last 5 minutes and just gets that rotation working, then I actually don't mind the structure of the bench. But who knows if that's going to be the 17, an hour before kickoff.
The hooking role, Gareth, the boys were pretty harsh. I'm going to throw the boys under the bus because obviously I didn't see the game when we did the review on the month. But they basically both said they don't want Little to ever play first grade again. Would you go that far? Are you happy with Simkin back in the 9?
Well, to be fair, he was bad, but there were some other players that were equally as bad. I couldn't. That was probably one performance I couldn't believe from a football team. Like you can. Yeah, that was just. I've never seen anything like, because I didn't watch the Newcastle game, so.
That was pretty bad. First half was bad.
Yeah, I read the comments and I went, yeah, I'm glad I didn't watch that game, because it's like my mate actually come around and made me sit through the Cronulla game, so I was like happy to watch the Formula One, but
Yeah, the Formula One was good. I've got my Ricardo hat on tonight. It cost $70, so I thought I might as well get some wear out of it.
But yeah, Little was pretty terrible, and Mamalo was as well. But I don't know, Mamalo looked like he was running on one leg to me. So I don't know if there was any excuses made that he was injured, but he looked like he was running on one leg. So I'm not defending the performance, but yeah, it looked like he shouldn't have been out there. Like
the prop rotation, boys. So Jimmy and Zane. Starting, Rob, how do you feel about Zane getting the start?
The usual thing, mate. I want to see Twal start. He's not an impact player, but we've just beaten that sort of point to death now. So we've just got to go with whatever Madge thinks now. Hopefully, when Twal comes on, he doesn't come off again and plays 60 minutes pretty well till full time.
Gareth?
Yeah, I've not been that impressed with Musgrave at all since he tries hard, but he just doesn't have the impact for me as some of the better front rowers in the competition. So I'd stick with 12.
And obviously the back rowers, these guys are going to be there the rest of the year. Touch wood if they stay healthy. Anything else that stands out there, Rob, that before we unleash Gareth onto his topic?
Not from our team. I mean, obviously Parramatta's got Wonga Blake out. They've got Junior Paulo out. They've got a pretty strong bench as well with a lot of impact. So I think it's going to be a pretty dour game. As Gareth said, where are we going to get our points? So it's kind of like if we get 12 points, it'll be a miracle. And without Kenny there goes our aerial threat. So, look, I think we'll be in the game. If we hold them early, it'll be a low-scoring game, but, they'll probably get away from us near the end. So I wouldn't expect a cricket score. I think the boys will be fired up. I think Jacko will it's hard off 3 weeks to come back and for him to be at his best, but I'm sure we'll have a little bit of leadership and a little bit of drive there. He's going to be running the team now, so let's keep our fingers crossed. I get shattered after every game, and then 3 or 4 days later, I start thinking, you know what, we might be able to do this. They're missing a few, and we've got a couple coming back, and we've made some changes, and you get a little bit of hope up. But that's the trap of being a West Tigers fan, isn't it?
It's a psychological disorder.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm assuming that's the other Rob behind the bounce of the ball comment. So we've talked about this quite a lot. A lot of people have said it. The Brooks at 9 thing, Gareth, are you one to giving that a try? It's been a lot of people have said it. I mean, it's worth trying anything at this point. But do you think Brooks could be a 9?
Well, he's got all the attributes of a 9, but I think sadly for Brooks that I don't know what happened early in his career, but he looked like a lot of the football instinct he had in him got coached out of him fairly young. But I think 9's probably worth a shot with him now, because I don't see him being a long-term half with the club anymore.
Yeah.
I think the times I think this season's firmly proved that I think it's time for everyone to move on from him as a half. So
yeah, and plus with Appy coming next year, it's there's already a backlog. Because
it's worth a try at this point. Anything's worth a try, but I don't see him. Probably when Dewey comes back, I don't see him in the halves. So,
Rob, anything to add that we haven't talked about this topic before?
No, not really. Everything Gareth said spot on. All I'd say is, as a hooker, I think he'd handle the defensive role a little bit better than Madden. That's all. And he's got that little left foot grubber kick, and he has got pace off the mark. So, but he'd be a bloody expensive hooker. But he could definitely do the job for the season. But he won't be playing hooker with us next season. He'd be a half, or he's out, and most likely he'll be out.
Righto, Gareth, we're going to let you go. So everyone, as I said earlier in the show, I'm way too big there. As I said earlier in the show, everyone has submitted a topic, and so Gareth, tell us what you told us, what you want to discuss on the show tonight. You have the floor. Go for it, buddy.
I just wanted to gauge the thoughts on if we're not going to stick with Madge, which to me, as much as I like the guy and like his passion and everything that he's tried to bring to the club, I just think he just can't get anything happening at the club. So if we're going to go with a new coach, my thoughts would be John Morris for what he was able to do at Cronulla with a weaker roster, and he still managed to get something out of him. So I just wanted to gauge what people's thoughts are on looking down that road if we're going to be changing coaches.
Before you go, Rob, anyone in the comments, if you want to drop, as you've seen, I can throw your comments up on the screen. So thoughts on John Morris as West Tigers coach. If Madge does get the sack, Rob, do you see John Morris as a good fit?
He'd be an option. He did well at Cronulla. Cronulla kind of labelled him as a bottom of the 8 coach. Okay, they didn't think he could get them to like preliminary final or grand final status, which I think was pretty harsh, because if you look at who they've added to the team this year in terms of Nico Hines and Dale Finucane, the rest of their team is really, really young, and they've got an extra season under their belt. And I think it was pretty harsh to judge Morris on that, because he'd lost Paul Gallen, he'd lost Luke Lewis, Wade Graham didn't play much. He could definitely do a role. I've said it before on the pod, I don't think the bloke would ever accept it, but I'd throw the checkbook at Cooper Cronk. Cooper Cronk's one of the smartest guys. He's so technical. He's come from the Melbourne system. Every time I watch him on Fox analyse a play or analyse anything to do with rugby league, my jaw just drops. And I think, how talented is this guy? But I think he's got that Melbourne sort of culture in him, and now, unfortunately, he's become a bloody Rooster. So I don't know how much money we'd have to do to get him there. But I'm not a fan of recycling coaches. But that said, John Morris is kind of a little bit untapped. He's been at the Tigers. He knows what he's got to deal with there in terms of management. And he would have a bit of passion for the club, because, I mean, he wasn't the best player for us, but he tried his guts out. He came as a halfback. He ended up basically as a hooker. and he did a good job as a backup hooker too. But yeah, I don't mind that call at all. But I don't think he's had much of a chance at Cronulla really. And what he did at Cronulla, I thought he did really well. And they're actually, I think they'd blown like a 22-point lead against the Roosters, maybe at the SCG before the game before he got sacked, when the Roosters were pretty white hot and had a pretty good team. So he can definitely coach. And I'm not a fan of like your Paul Greens and your Shane Flanagans and what have you. I don't want to rehash all these old blokes that have been there, done that. They've got I know they've won premierships, but they've got like Paul Green kind of ran out of ideas at North Queensland, and Shane Flanagan's got that, peptide stench going on with Cronulla. So I don't mind Josh. I wouldn't go for him, but if it was like the last option sort of thing, I don't mind it at all.
Shouts to Christian. He asked about Flanagan and you shot him down. It was good timing. Good from you, Rob.
The guy can coach. Flanagan can coach. I just don't want that whole Cronulla drug thing brought to our club. It's just like, Anthony Milford can play and we're shouting out for a half. Well, I don't want to sign Anthony Milford. It looks like he's gone to Newcastle. So, we need to get some good people in the club and hopefully they can play football. I don't want to get just a good footballer because we're so desperate to get a good footballer who's, bashing up his missus or on assault charges or anything like that. So, we've got to get good characters in the club.
Gareth, so do you, to see what Fredericks has said here, do you think it's a matter of time that Madge is gone? Because, who knows? The club.
At this point, after thinking about it, after I submitted the question a few days ago, I just thought, well, what happens when Madge goes? It's just I didn't have any higher expectations of this season. I actually had very low ones when I looked at the trials, but what I'm saying, you can kind of see it if you go to the lower grade games. You can sort of see what he's trying to do with the younger guys.
You told me this the previous week. Yeah, you sent me a message.
I've never seen young guys that hit and stick in the tackles. I'm seeing a lot in the younger grades when you go and see them. So that's sort of typical of Madge's sort of style of play. But at the moment, he just doesn't look like he's getting anything out of these players. That's my concern with him.
Yeah, see, I don't get when he's trying to unlock Brooks's running game, why we've got the second rowers on the wrong side as far as I'm concerned. Like, Brooks used to run off Luch all the time. Luch gets that left arm free, and that's when Brooks will get confidence from running off that. But we're just not getting any second phase from Luciano on the right. He's just there to plug that defensive hole because he's got Jimmy Roberts outside him. So my only beef with Madge is, it's a couple of beefs, but obviously it's the selections and the rotation just really annoys me because I think we should have beaten Melbourne first round when they were down 2 men and we didn't use our subs the way we should have and just kept rolling them over and just going up the middle. We saved Garner and Seyfarth for late in the game, and I just think we were quite dumb with how we used our rotation, and that cost us a victory. And you get a win there and you get some confidence and you get some self-belief, and it might have led to another couple of wins. So I'm pro Madge. I think he's the best character we could ever have as a coach. And I can see by some of the tackling, especially against Gold Coast, like the intent, and you can't say they're not playing for him. But last week it looked like some of the boys were turning at each other and they'd run out of ideas. Like, they literally ran out of ideas. It wasn't they weren't trying. They were just frustrated. And, that's not Madge's fault. We lost Dane Laurie an hour before kickoff. We had a right centre go to fullback and we had a bench player go to centre. We're really struggling for backs. We've got so many injuries. People have said, why don't we put Junior Pauga back in? The guy missed about a dozen tackles against Brisbane in his debut game. He scored a try and he got dropped the next week. The guy can't tackle.
Yeah, I saw him last week for West, and that was. I
stand corrected, but I think it was 13 missed tackles against Brisbane. But someone can look that up for me because it'll be on the NRL.com. But yeah, it's just so. What does Madge do? You just can't have someone there that can't tackle. So the first thing is to try and stop points. But where are we going to get our points from? And we're just missing a few things. We're missing Adam Dwayne. Dane Laurie's definitely a step slower. I don't care what anyone says. He does not have that speed he had last year. Those half breaks were full breaks last year. And, and I was so excited for his future. And now I'm just thinking, is it just going to take time from this broken leg? Did it upset his preseason? I don't know. I'm not going to write him off because I saw what he did last year and he's a great player. But we need Dane Laurie to be Dane Laurie again, because we've really got no star factor in the team. It's just we're really struggling at the moment. We're at the bottom of the barrel.
I know we're basically, you're talking keeping Madge here, but Jan suggested Cameron Ciraldo. He obviously said no in the past, but that was basically because he's signed with Penrith at the moment. Gareth, Ciraldo, two of your fancy?
I'd love Ciraldo, but he won't leave. He won't come to the West Tigers. If you're a up and coming coach and he's a hot commodity as an up and coming first grade coach, you'd have to be silly to come to the West Tigers. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't want Ciraldo at all, because like he took over from Penrith when they got rid of Anthony Griffin. They were in the top 4 at the time, and he won 3 out of 6 games with a team that was, high flying in the top 4. So some people are assistant coaches and not head coaches, and we've seen that with Trent Barrett. And I think Ciraldo fits into that category. Look, last time before we hired Madge, our next coach was going to be the most important coaching decision of our club. And if we do get rid of Madge, the next one has to be even better. We just can't go with a name to save face. We've got to do our research on that person and make sure he's the right fit and does the right job. We just can't snap up, this is the best available out of 4. If we've got to go left field and, get a guy from England or get the Walker brothers or do something, we just can't keep rehashing the same blokes, guys. So I'm not a Ciraldo fan. I'm glad he didn't come last year. But on Madge, like if we were going to get rid of Madge, we should have got rid of him 6 months ago. It'd be stupid to get rid of him now. So we've dug our grave.
Yeah, my point with Morris was he's not going to be it's just to get us off the bottom. Like that's where I'd like to get to, like back to the promised land of 9th. So
yeah, but see, I think if we were looking for 9th or even 8th, Gareth, I think Madge would
just
have kept
as a rebuilding phase, because obviously
no, I hear you, but we would have kept Benji last year. We like, I think Madge said, you know what, I'm going to do what's right for the club, even though I know Benji's, going to provide me a lot of try assists. He's going to be good for the young kids, etc., etc. We're too reliant on Benji. We were previously too reliant on Robbie. Let's just start from the bottom. Let's fix our cap. Let's do everything else. And look, if Madge does get sacked, I still think he's been great in what he's tried to do the last 12 months. He puts the club before himself. It was about self-preservation. He'd be making different decisions. He's really trying to look out for our long-term future. But that said, I'm just not happy with some of the tactical stuff. And I don't think the journalists ask the coaches enough of those questions as to why you're using your subs like this. Why have you persisted? Like, we wanted to drop Jacob Little 2 games ago. Like, he played awful against the Gold Coast. Like, why did we have to have another bad game from him? He's the bloke that touches the ball the most. He starts our go forward. And he couldn't pick the ball up from dummy half. He was passing to forwards 2 metres behind the advantage line. Like, you just can't get any go forward when your hooker's playing so badly. Doesn't matter how good the other blokes are, let alone the halfbacks. So, like I said, I think Madge has a bit to answer for selection-wise, but he's trying to do the right thing by the club. And I said we'd come 15th this year, but I said I was looking forward to some of these players developing and it'd be exciting. But, look, the first few games were pretty good, but the media circus about our plight is just, it's just hurting us, because that's all we read every day. We get up and we read all the negative stories and it makes us feel bad.
Yeah, that's just what they feed into. They always have for the...
Yeah, exactly. But we've got to try and block that out, because I said to myself, this is going to happen. Block it out. It's not going to bother me. And it's bothering the crap out of me. I'm depressed every time I read something. I'm like, man, how do we fix this?
I don't read it anymore, because most of it's just drivel. Like, it's just trying to stir it up. Like,
yeah, well, we've got to read it.
That's what it's there for, just to get people worked up and get the clicks. So
yeah, but if someone asks us a question about it, we've got to know what they've said.
It does impact negatively on the club. Like, I feel it does.
Of course it does.
Same as the way we get made fools of by player managers trying to leverage a contract. Like, I don't know how many star players or marquee signings we're supposed to make, but then they just got their money up and re-signed or signed somewhere else. Like,
but is that their fault, or is that our management's fault for not being able to get, your
they're just not savvy enough
over the line?
I just don't think they're savvy enough to understand that they're being played. So
yeah, I can tell you firsthand, Addo Carr
they're not the real
wanted to come back
sharks,
to the Tigers. Addo Carr wanted to come back to the Tigers, mate. We stuffed that up. I can't speak about Latrell. I don't know the details of that, but I know Addo-Carr's manager personally, and I even had a conversation with him yesterday about it. He's going to come on the pod to talk about like the really good talented juniors we've got. But he said to me, mate, he goes, don't talk to me about Addo-Carr. I don't want to answer questions about it, but I know exactly why he didn't come, and he definitely wanted to be a Tiger again.
Yeah, we did grow up supporting him from what I.
Even when he left, mate, he wanted to come back. All he ever said is, I want to come back to the Tigers. And we can't get players at the best of time, let alone a bloke that wanted to play for the Tigers again. It's terrible. And it's an indictment on our management.
Yeah, well, you obviously have more intimate knowledge than I do. I'm just speaking from an average
Yeah, no, fair enough. No, it's all good, mate. I'm an average punter too. It's just I happen to know the guy personally, that's all.
We're all average punters, Gareth, but you've killed it tonight. We've got a few of our other guests in the waiting bay. You've killed it. Thanks with helping with this. Thanks for helping us with the team list and everything. And
thanks for having me on.
You heading the game on Monday?
No, I'm going tomorrow to watch the SG ball side at St Mary's.
Cool.
I like to watch the juniors coming through, give you more hope than actually watching first grade. So.
Yeah, they actually win every now and then.
Yeah, some of these last comments, Josh, are pretty poignant too. They're really good comments. Like we really have to be looking long term.
All our listeners are geniuses, Rob. Every single one of them. Yeah.
Well, let's get one of them as coach.
All idiots they just go to Fox Sports or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Righto, Gareth. Have a good one, buddy.
Thanks, lads.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
Righto. So we have a pretty special guest. So we talk about rugby league and being an expert on rugby league, but tonight we've actually got a qualified actual player for the West Tigers, and I'll add her in there. Emily, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Welcome. Thanks for it's very last minute that we got you on, but welcome to the WestsLife Podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
So, Emily, you just come from playing for the Parramatta Eels in the NRLW. Obviously, that season wrapped up last week, and you're playing for the West Tigers in the Harvey Norman series, which kicks off 5:15 on Saturday at Combank Stadium. Yep. Obviously, tell us what it was like playing in the NRLW this season with the Parramatta Eagles.
It was a great opportunity. I looked forward to it from last year when I got the call up, and just it was hard, obviously not knowing whether or not the competition was going to go ahead or not. Like we weren't really in the loop as much as what we thought we were going to be in regards to if we were playing, when it was going to be starting, all this. But once we actually found out a start date, then we were all like very excited and keen to get to training, get to pre-season, and just like work our asses off to get out there on that field, like what we've been waiting for.
And obviously it's pretty funny that you're changing from Parramatta Eels to West Tigers the week the two NRL teams play each other. But so who did you support growing up? What team?
So it's sort of a family tradition we actually support the St George Illawarra Dragons.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, don't really have a choice in that situation. My dad's whole family, his whole family supported the Dragons. So my mum's family actually, we had a cousin that played for Parramatta.
Who's
Mitch Allgood. Mitch Allgood.
Yeah.
So he's my mum. He's a cousin on my mum's side. So she supported them, and my dad supported the Dragons. So we didn't really have a choice when we were growing up. So it was all Dragons.
And playing for our West Tigers starting this week, do you think the West Tigers, it'd be so like we all would love them to step up to be an NRLW side? Do you think that's a possibility one day?
100%. We've definitely got we definitely have the girls that are able to come up and play in that level. We've actually put in a request for the 2023 season to have a team. So, yeah, just waiting for NRL to come back and obviously have all our meetings about that. So that would be definitely a great opportunity. We've got the girls to be able to put that team up, and just looking forward, especially with the signings we got this year. It'll definitely be great in the Harvey Norman season to play together, and then hopefully 2023 we'll have a NRLW team, and then we can all go from playing Harvey Norman up into that NRLW together, and like obviously all having our clicks and all that in the team from playing together, we can take that into that NRLW season and hopefully go well.
And heading into the game this week, the West Tigers girl, how is everyone feeling? It's pretty stupid to ask elite athletes if you're confident. You're at the highest level, so you think you'd have plenty of confidence in yourselves. But are the girls feeling good heading into the first game this week?
Yeah, no, definitely. Most of the girls actually, prior to 2 weeks ago, we played our first trial. They haven't played in 10 months, so I think just getting out there for those trials was definitely good for the girls. Get the reps in, and we're all very confident and looking forward to going out there and playing before the men's game at Combank Stadium, obviously one of our home grounds. Looking forward to definitely being a curtain raiser to the men's.
I think I said earlier, I think I said Saturday, not Monday. I got my days mixed up before. Yeah, obviously you guys are playing before the men on Monday. How good an Easter Monday, a big crowd. Obviously you played in some big games, big crowds before. What's the biggest crowd you played? Obviously Origin, you played in New South Wales.
I think that was definitely a big crowd. That was one of my first major games, which was great. Just especially being 2 standalone women's games, just the growth of all the supporters and the spectators coming into the women's game. You don't get any better than that. Just all women's games. It's good for us. It gives us confidence that we know that there are a lot of people out there that want to watch us play and know that we've got the skills, and we know what we're doing out there. It's not just another game of footy. It means something to us.
Absolutely. And lastly, you mentioned the West Tigers are putting in for a team next year. So by the sounds of it, that means you'll 100% be a West Tiger next year. You're contracted to be a West Tiger, and if they step up, you will leave those pesky Eels and be a Tiger in the NRLW?
That's the plan. I've come through the ranks at the Tigers, and I want to be one of the first people to go all the way through from Tasha Gale all the way through to NRLW for the Tigers.
How good's that? We definitely, obviously the men, not much to cheer about in the men's side, but we're looking forward to. That's awesome. That really caught me. To be honest, the 2020. I thought it'd be a while before we get NRLW, or that the club were putting in for it. So that's a bit of an exclusive. Rob, did you know that we were going to put in for a team in the NRLW?
I wasn't aware of it, but this will make me feel good. I actually love watching the women play now. Where the game was, say, 2 or 3 years ago to where it is today, I accidentally started watching the second half of the State of Origin last year, which I think Queensland won that game. But the motors on the forwards for New South Wales that second half, and the skill, I'm like, are you serious? I was watching the girls 3 years ago and they were not doing this. And I don't know if has the training gone up, Emily, or something like that. I just can't believe, you can have 4 or 5 games in a season and improve that much. Has the training in the off season prepared you guys better for that?
I think it's just girls. They want to be out there. They don't do this as a full-time job. Most of us either study full-time or work full-time. We want to be out there because we want to play. And we put in 100% when we're out there, on and off the field, no matter what. We just want to be out there to play. We do it because we love it.
Just as a spectator, Emily, the game looks twice as fast now as it did 2 years ago.
Definitely. Even Harvey Norman, it's definitely a lot faster.
Yeah, you can definitely see that, and it's a really good product to watch. So I actually look forward to watching it quite a bit now. I watched the grand final last weekend too with St George and East. That was a really good game.
Yeah.
if anyone wants to ask Emily a question while we've got her, for the next minute or so, drop in the comments, guys. Yeah, not very often we have a State of Origin player on the show. We had Robbie Farah on this year, so you're the second one for the season this year. Anything else you want to ask, Rob, while we've got Emily here?
No, just what are your aspirations? If you think that you played Origin now, is that as high as you can go with the women's game? I'm not really sure what you can do in the women's game.
Well, there's Gillaroos.
What I want to do is I want to play Gillaroos. That's my goal.
Yep.
This year, obviously, it's get back in another NRLW team for the end of the year for the 2022 competition.
Yep.
And then just go on from there, build my way up, build my confidence, build my game, and then hopefully one day play as the 6 or the 7 for the Gillaroos.
And just one final thing, would you prefer to have standalone games, or would you prefer to be the game before the men's NRL team?
I like both. I think we get a good crowd at standalone games.
Yep.
But I know that this year we do have a game after one of the men's games. So it's played at Leichhardt Oval. We're actually playing after the men's game.
Okay.
So I think it's good to have them prior to the men's games. We do get a good crowd before the games. We've got all the West Tigers diehard fans. They're always at our games, no matter what. They come to our games and then they go to the men's games. It's good to have both standalone games and prior to the NRL games, but it's definitely good to be playing at all the stadiums and having those high class like Combank and Leichhardt Oval prior to the men's.
Yeah.
Well Smiling saying, just got a few comments coming through. So pretty easy one here. Smiling saying said, would you like to be the first NRLW West Tigers captain?
Oh, that would be a great opportunity. I know we do have a few girls that are above me that I think would do a great job in that also. Our captain at the moment, Bo, she's injured. She just did her ACL in the NRLW. She's a great captain, and the things she does for us girls on and off the field is amazing, and I think she would be a great captain. But yeah, it would be an awesome opportunity to be the inaugural captain.
Carla has asked, what's the highlight of your career so far?
Scoring my debut for NRLW. And obviously I was playing State of Origin. I was also actually vice captain. So those two are probably my highlights.
And our friend Christian from the Warriors NRL Fanatics, he asked, what were your thoughts on the NRL, so the extra couple of teams being added this year? Obviously, they're going to add more and more, but what are your thoughts on it going up by two more teams?
I think it's great. Seeing that more girls get the opportunity to play. There's obviously more girls out there that can play and are up to the level to play. It's just, obviously, at the moment, we don't have enough teams to be able. We eventually want it. Every NRL team will have an NRLW team as well. That's where it needs to be. We just need to make sure that the experience and the skills stays at that level. And I think adding these teams slowly it'll be great for the competition.
Emily, thank you so much. It was a very last minute, and shouts to Jess for organising this. Literally only asked you about 20 minutes, half an hour before we went on air, and then you had to listen to us ramble on about Michael Maguire and all that sort of thing.
No, that's all right.
But we really, really appreciate having a superstar of the game on the show, and all the best. Extra cheers for you on Monday. Everyone, get out early and see the girls playing on Monday.
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, go Rob.
Not going to keep Emily on for the for Big T's voiceover?
I'll let Emily. Yeah, Big
Okay.
T's question later on isn't for professional athletes. I don't think she's well above this. Emily's too good for that one.
Thank you for
Righto,
having
Emily.
me. It was great.
Thanks. Have a great night and good luck on Monday.
Thank you very much.
See ya.
See ya.
How good was that?
Yeah, excellent.
I think everyone enjoyed that chat. So we've got a couple of guys in there. So I think, Kathy, I know you've been waiting in there a little while, but I might let Josh go first, and I'll let you go after, because I think Kathy might enjoy Big T's question later. She can have a little bit of extra time on that one.
Good.
So we'll bring in another Josh. Josh, this is Josh. How you going, buddy?
Hey, how are you, mate?
How good was that? Having one of our NRLW girls or Harvey Norman girls on. I think everyone enjoyed that. It was awesome.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rob, as well. In terms of the pacing, I was watching the game. I think I was watching the finals. I haven't been into much in terms of the women's rugby league, but
yeah,
they got, like, compared to 3 years ago as well. I agree with you. It's much more rapid. I actually think if I was to be in that game, I'd get pumped. Like, it was amazing.
I would actually watch one of those games before a New South Wales Cup game, without a doubt. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, we might actually win one. Righto, Josh. I put in your little caption, I put Joshua. Do you go by Josh or Joshua more often?
That's fine. Yeah, Joshua's fine.
Yeah, it was only when I was in trouble by my mum I got Joshua. When I was a kid, I put Joshua. So, but what did you want to talk about tonight, Josh? You got a bit of a left field question for us?
So it's more so categories for you boys. Just some interesting, funny things that we might look towards, or like I want to talk about. I don't really want to talk about this playing group. Don't want to talk about this year. Don't want to talk about anything.
We need a laugh.
Oh, okay. All right, that'll be good.
Yeah. So I got a couple of categories for you boys that we'll go through now.
Cool.
So this can be a player or a moment, past or present, for West Tigers.
Yeah.
So first I'll start off with the shittest chop. So who would you give that to?
Does this mean haircut?
Yeah.
Rob and I are a bit too old with the lingo.
Oh, yeah.
This means haircut. It does mean haircut. Okay. Rob, did you have anyone in mind?
I just hope my memory's right. You can help me, Josh. Didn't Tim Moulton get the most ridiculous haircut once?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if it's a bulb. I don't know if it's
from
a bulb
Central
patch
Coast,
or something.
probably.
I don't know what that was, but it was just like, it was just a random thing. And I just remember thinking, I won't say it on live radio, whatever, but yeah, what the hell was he doing? So I'll go Tim Moulton there, just because I've been one for the last 22 years, to be brutally honest. There probably is a really bad haircut amongst there somewhere.
Yeah.
What about you, Josh?
Are we saying the ones we didn't like, or ones that stand out? Just ones that stand out.
The ones that are worse. The worst chop.
The one that comes to mind, I actually liked this because he could pull it off, was Kevin Nagama's Fresh Prince.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He had the don't know how to, like a cylinder above his head. Yeah. So that was silly, but I enjoyed it. It was bad, but I liked it. Grant in the comments said Maloa Milford. Yeah, he had the little.
I think it was the lower.
Lower Milford. Yeah. He had the little orange. It was like a little orange, very similar to Clint Capella for NBA fans. Didn't he have like a little bit of orange amongst the brown? Isn't that what Lower Milford had?
Yeah. That little rat tail thing going on, didn't he, or something?
That's a pretty good one, Grant. Yeah. Great player, Lower Milford, back in the day. I remember watching him as a kid. He was super fast. Yeah, I remember he had the little. It was like a little bit of orange, Clint Capella in the NBA has something similar. I can't stand that guy because he always smashes my nuggets. But righto, Josh, what's next on your question list?
So one in terms of, well, we had a lot of these, but what would you say in terms of the worst officiated game in the history of the West Tigers? I know there's been a lot, I got a personal one for you. Probably last year against the Rabbits, the Latrell Mitchell, Luke Garner situation, in terms of the bunker not calling that up, and there was also a foot in the line. I'm pretty sure I went to that game and I was livid. There's been a couple this year as well, maybe for the Cowboys, I think, but there might be one that you guys know of. But that was probably my worst one.
Rob, this is Carla. Carla knows that you're about to, go. What have you got in mind, Rob? I can't really think of anything other than Luciano's no try this year, and then the David Nofaluma no try against Manly, I think it was, when he put the ball on the line. So those two incidents where they didn't go to the video ref. That's a good. Smiling Sane just put a good one. The golden point against the Broncos for the marker.
Yeah, for Luke Brooks.
So it's easy. It's easy to remember moments for these, not whole games. Like I can't think of a whole game in particular. It's just those moments, those big calls, and I guess they're only human at the end of the day. But Rob, if you've got a game in mind, go for it.
Yeah, look, definitely. It's funny enough because we won the game, but that Penrith game last year, it brought out a personality in me that I didn't think I had existed anymore. I was actually like offending West Tiger supporters that were sitting next to me. I've never been more livid. That first half just absolutely caned us. But if I go back in history, it might not stand out much because it turned out to be a great game. But that infamous Golden Point loss or semi-final loss to the Roosters in 2010, Shane Payne absolutely, in the first half, the Roosters were just holding us down like Melbourne hold us down. We couldn't get a penalty. I think we got our first penalty. Like it took forever to get a penalty for holding down or offside, and that game should have been over at half time. So that's the one game that hurts the most refereeing. I remember Shane Payne, main referee, and Matt Chechen was the pocket referee. We had pocket referee back then, and that's the one that kills me the most. That was the closest devastation I've had to the 1989 grand final for a game. And I said at half time, I said, we're not going to win this game. This ref doesn't want us to win the game. And it turned out to be like that. So they're the two games that stick out for me. But there's probably other games, but that Penrith game last year, and if I go back in history, that one sticks out quite a bit.
Yeah, the 2010 one as well, the no try because of the Benji fight.
That's the same.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So now you say it, obviously the scrum, I think that's going to be my answer. I think that Roosters game, the illegal scrum, the no try because of Benji, because Benji was nowhere near the play and got in a fight with Pearce. Yeah, that's probably my answer, I think.
Yep.
So what do you got next, Josh?
I got two more for you. So funniest moment. So this could be just done by a player. So the one I think I sent to you, Josh, because it's past or present, so you can go anyone. But when Russell Packer went for a piss on the sideline.
Yeah, that was for the Warriors. Obviously.
Yeah, I know. So just any player really.
Okay.
That's the one I want to bring up. But if you know of any on-field things that one of our players have done, it could be anything really, but it might be a bit hard.
One that comes off the top of my head, one that I really enjoyed was when I think it was 2005. Benji kissed Scotty Prince on the cheek.
Out of my mouth. I was just going to say the same thing.
Oh, really?
How good is that?
Yeah. I think it was when we beat the Bulldogs that year.
Roosters,
was it? Roosters.
Yeah,
it's a pretty iconic moment. It just shows the chemistry that team had, how comfortable they were with each other. Are quite, I mean, it's not that funny. I guess it is funny. The personality stuff comes out when you're winning. You can't really think of funny personality stuff when the team's not going well, because if you're not enjoying, Smiling Sane with another good one, Pat Richards blowing the whistle for his own try. Yeah, post-try celebrations fall into that category. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Grant said Nathan Brown passing forward from a tap. Oh, the Falcon. That's one of the famous Falcons.
I thought it was West Tigers related though. That's
yeah. That's yeah. To go league wide, man, I'll really have to.
all that night. I think St George, something like that.
Righto, Josh. What's next?
In terms, so probably you, Rob, probably have a lot of experiences with this, but worst game experience with other fans. So,
the Roosters. End of story. Yeah,
as in experiences in off the field, or just the game itself was.
So you're sitting down getting hammered, and someone screams out some stupid shit to you, or something. You have like an altercation with someone or anyone, or you're just having a really bad day. It comes up a couple of times for me, but I just know if you had a personal experience that you can note.
A bad personal experience for me was on the hill at Penrith when we got flogged. I think it was 3-4 years ago. You guys will remember the game. We got absolutely smacked by Penrith. Was when Ivan Cleary was still coach. Who was fullback? I think someone at fullback played really bad. I know I'm really been really and losing to Penrith's been a lot.
Empire
lately. No, it might have been Noff, either Noff or it was during the Cleary era. But anyway, we're on the hill behind the goalpost, and a bunch of guys just got into a punch on in front of us, and acted like dickheads. To be fair to Panthers fans, none of them had Panthers jerseys on. By the looks of it, they were just dressed in their gear, ready. It was a Friday night, and they were ready to go out and be dickheads at a nightclub, and they wanted to be dickheads at the footy beforehand. And now my wife refuses to go watch footy in Penrith. So every time if I go to the game in Penrith, she won't go. So she's just been an inner west snob, and won't go to Penrith anymore. So what about you, Rob?
Look, that Roosters game, I won't go into details. Let's just say I lost my IQ to about 12 and got into a massive altercation with a Roosters fan that pledged Tigers page, and I therefore proceeded to find his phone number, ring him up, beat him within an inch of his life, and he put a full retraction on the West Tigers page and apologized. And that was it. So that was how I was. I just lost my not proud of it, but that was the worst experience. I didn't sleep for 3 days. I was so mad at myself. I was just so tilted.
Smiling Saints got one. It was an Anzac Day game against Raiders 2016. Got flogged 66-6. Got plastic cups thrown by dickheads. And 2010 semi-final guy tried to pick a fight with me. From that, a little bit of a side rant from that. So Anzac Day, I really love the Roosters. I actually don't like when we play on Anzac Day because I really like the Roosters Dragon game. But what I've been to those a few times, I just want to put it out there. If during the moment of silence, this goes for any moments of silence. If you make noise during a moment of silence at the footy, you're a dickhead, and you should leave. You should never go to a game of footy. That really annoys me when the whole stadium is quiet, and someone will call out "Go whoever," or just anything. You take your hat off, and especially on Anzac Day, don't be a dickhead. That kind of fits into your question there. Anytime someone yells out during a moment's silence, get the F out.
It's usually Eels games where I find out the low IQ supporters usually calling out things that aren't even a rule in the game, and then that just grinds my gears because we're getting smashed and they're calling stuff that's not meant to be it's not actually in the game, but I'm just sitting there copping it. So it's usually the Eels games that grind me, but
Bulldogs. I had bring up some memories now. You go, Rob. I'll save mine. You go.
Good boy on the head at Cumberland Oval, and I never went back to Cumberland Oval until Balmain moved home grounds to Parramatta, and I actually had tickets in the grandstand, but I basically didn't go to Parramatta for about 20 years.
And you won't go back there now?
I won't go back there now. I don't like my home games there, but Anyway, sorry, that's all, Josh. Sorry, mate.
I was just thinking the Bulldogs went to the Bulldogs in 2000. Tigers Bulldogs at ANZ, or what was it called back then? I don't know. I think it was 2006 or 2007, and there were brawls in the crowd. So I found Bulldogs crowds there's a reason the Bulldogs always seem to have the most security at their games now, but since they've been losing, they're a lot easier to deal with. But back when they were really good, back in the Willie Mason days, the Bulldogs fans could be really hard to deal with. It's a lot. It's a lot easier to answer the sad questions on these when it comes to the West Tigers. All the bad memories come back much quicker, unless it's 2005. Unless you can relate it to Benji or the Benji runs. What do you got next for us, Josh?
Yeah, it's just the last one. I'm 21, so I've experienced West Tigers being bad for half my teenage years. So,
Oh gosh.
Hopefully not for another 10, eh? But next question. Greatest jokester. So, past or present, who's been the funniest in a team or a roster?
That's it.
Who would you say, Rob?
Liam Fulton, followed by...
that was my answer. He stole it off me.
Yeah.
He's a great guy too. I don't know if anyone that's been listening to us for a couple of years, we had him on the show. 2020, I think. Might have been during lockdown, 2020. We had Liam on the show. Just a great guy. Great character as well. Yeah, he was my answer. Gibbsy's a good one too. Him and man, you just keep going back to these 2005 that era, and then these core guys of mates. It's just how happy the players were at the club, and how much they literally loved each other. I think we took it for granted because we had it between, even though we didn't make the semis 6, 7, 8 or 9, we came close a lot those years, and obviously still had the same core of players. And then as soon as maybe it was Tim Sheens that did this when Bo Ryan and Chris Hyington were showing the door. It the friendships kind of went the other way, and we've kind of had misery ever since. So a lot can be said with when we have players, these happy memories off the field, then on the field it just clicks. So anything else on that one, Rob?
No, that's pretty much it. I think the funny, was there a try? We were going to do the best try ever, or we're not doing that one?
That's unanimous. Obviously, the Pat Richards.
No,
I don't think so. Really?
Try ever.
No, I will go 2005. The Bronson Harrison try. Is it round 2 or round 3 against the Bulldogs? I think it was our second match of the year. It's like a length of the field effort, and it just sums up West Tigers. It's just hands backing up. It was just beautiful. Go back and take a look at it. I think we won 37-36 that day.
Oh, I'll check it out.
There's a lot of Benji Marshall going through my head at the moment. Like the super long pass out to Bo Ryan. I know, when a lot of the classic tries when they throw the ball around a lot. The Blake Ashford one in the wet at Leichhardt sticks out, I think, against the Cowboys or the Storm.
I think the Bo Ryan one, Cronulla, yeah.
No, when Blake Ashford, it ended up with Blake Ashford slide. It was so wet, and Blake Ashford, I think it was against the Cowboys. We hadn't won in a while at Leichhardt.
In the corner.
Might have been the same game. I remember Blake Ashford basically dived 10 meters out and just slid over at the end of it. The Benji Marshall cutout pass to Bo Ryan that was 30 meters long in the corner at Leichhardt. That's a great one from Grant there. The Gareth flick to Benji, which was in that comeback against the Warriors, I believe, when we were a few tries down, and then I think it was 20 minutes to go.
Yeah,
we came back
4 tries
and one. Smiling Sane, Gareth Ellis first try in 2010. His first try. Do you remember Gareth Ellis's first try, Rob, off the top of your head?
I don't. I really don't know.
Might need to add a bit more to that one. Josh, do you remember Gareth Ellis's first try, 2010? God, I miss Gareth Ellis. What a freaking player. We need another one in.
2000, that would have been against Manly, wouldn't it?
Do
that night.
First game. Oh, yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, in front of Manly, 2010, round 1.
Yeah, all I remember that night is Lottie Takiri just breaking Brett Stewart in half with a run down the left sideline.
Yeah, that was a good game.
Yeah.
That's that one. John Hodgson, he said any Tuiaki try. Yeah, another man. I missed that guy as well. Tuiaki bowling people over, scoring in the corner.
That try might have been off a Farah kick. I could be wrong. Maybe he can put that in the chat. I'm just trying to think. It was in the second half.
I could go on those. Yeah. Man. Yeah. Carla's just said our memories are insane. Yeah, we need to get a life. We know, Carla, but if we didn't have these stupid football brains, then you wouldn't have the entertainment twice a week from us. What's next on the question list, Josh?
No, that's all. That's all questions.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. So,
what's your predictions for Monday?
Maybe we'll score a try.
Maybe we'll score a try.
Yeah, no, I don't know. You don't know. I go in there like all Tigers fans, hoping for something to happen, and then it's met with disappointment. So maybe a try.
Oh, come on!
Try would be good.
100.
Hopefully Luke Brooks maybe hat trick.
That'd be
Yeah, no, we'll see. But yeah, try.
Righto, Josh. We'll get to Kathy. Kathy's been sitting in the waiting room for the entire show now, so we'll get on to Kathy to finish. Thanks heaps for coming on the show, mate. That was fun.
Cheering us up.
We're an escape for reality for everyone. Normally, you just gave us an escape from the reality. That was awesome. Talking about the all the good stuff in the past, our glory years. Have a good one, Josh.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks.
See ya.
See ya. See you, babe.
Kathy, thank you so much you popped in. You're one of the first to pop in. So you've been listening the whole time. Thanks for hanging around and being on the WestsLife Podcast. How are you going?
Well, thank you. No problem. I've been watching the Cowboys Canberra game in the background anyway.
Yeah, so's Rob, and he's hosting the show. So I can see his eyes. No eye contact from Rob the whole show.
It kind of makes you feel a bit better because Canberra have let a 12-point lead go, and they're just as bad, I think.
It's all about Schadenfreude this season. Just any misery of another fan base we can find.
Yeah.
We especially Parramatta. Parramatta's my most hated team, so it's hard to find misery with them at the moment. But being 15th is the goal at the moment. But Kathy, what did you want to talk about tonight? What's your topic?
I think one of the things that really triggered me on your podcast on Monday was I think it was Rob mentioned something about the board in terms of obviously their constitution means that a board member can't be voted out. You either have to resign or die. Is that actually fact?
It actually
is. Almost. Yeah.
So it got me thinking, because for a few years I've thought the culture within the whole club, the atmosphere of the culture within the whole club is really it's really dire. And if you look at some of the players that we've signed on, not all of them are bad players. Like within their their own stats on paper, they all have could have some really good numbers. So what is it about our culture that makes the team so crap at the moment? And I can't help but keep going back to that top level. And if you've got a culture within a boardroom where nothing can happen to someone, then why wouldn't that culture filter down through eventually into the playing group where, hey, we're getting paid anyway and nothing really is going to happen if we don't perform. And I don't know that it's spoken about enough. And it kind of, I've worked in an environment. I've never played football, but I've worked in an environment where the upper level management were cancerous, and the culture was really, really bad, and it definitely filtered down through, the colleagues and what have you. So would that be any different on a football field?
Rob, this is your this is your forte. I'm going to throw this one to you.
Look, it's a really tough one because, as I said on night, I don't know what the individuals do on the board, and it'd be wrong of me to assume that they're not contributing. And I think some of those directors bring in sponsorship. Some of them don't even have anything to do with rugby league. They've been there over 30 years, and like they're members of certain clubs at Ashfield. Maybe the Ashfield Tennis Club, or within the community. They're very high up within that Ashfield community. My thing is, if you've got the same people all the time and nothing's changing, how do you expect change? And at the very least, if there were one or two spots open for people that want to make a difference, then I think that should happen because, like I said, I'm not putting anyone down, but if there's anyone on that board that's just sitting on their ass doing nothing, well, they can't get voted out. It's just... Now, I think even to be eligible to get on the board, I believe you've got to be a member of West Ashfield for a certain amount of time. It's just not working. It's just not working. And it's just, obviously the share of ownership with everything's changed. So now West Ashfield are predominantly owners. And, before we used to have Balmain. Balmain's not existent anymore. I'm not sure how big West Campbelltown are involved in it, but something has to change from up top. And, like they always say, everything starts from the top and it filters down. So I've got nothing against Lee Hadjibentelis or anything like that. At least Lee puts his money into the club. But at the same time, I think it's a conflict of interest to be the chairman and the sponsor. And at the same time, I don't want him to take his money out, obviously, and he's trying his best. But I don't know. I don't know if we've got the smarts in there. And as I said Monday night, he's just giving the keys to Tim Sheens and say, do our job for us, the answer. And there's nothing wrong with Tim Sheens, but that shouldn't be how it works. Like, if I want to go to a club and I'm a player, I want to know that I'm going to be looked after at all levels and not be relying on one man. So I think we need to change our infrastructure, at least for one or two spots on there. And I'll tell you now, like, if there's one or two people that had Josh and my passion on there, I'm not saying it has to be us, but if they had our passion and maybe had some of our contacts, things could be different and we can influence other people. But right now we're just stuck with who we got. And as a fan, I just think there's not even hope. Like, when Canterbury have had their turmoil, they've overthrown boards and overthrown presidents and they vote people out. We've got nothing. We've got no say.
Sorry to interrupt, but a few years back, I remember the NRL interjected into the West Tigers and had some sort of say in terms of how the board structure was going to be. Do you know why that changed?
I don't know why that changed. I know originally Marina Go, and I think there was one or two other independent members on the board, but they're no longer there. No, but I don't know why that changed. And to be honest, look, Pascoe, back when I used to speak to Pascoe and he, invite you on these stupid subcommittees and whatever, I just know how that all works. That's all cosmetic. They do not listen to it. Just there to appease the fans and make us think that we've got a say. But at the end of the day, we don't have a say and we need to have a say. And put it this way, if I could have a vote, I'd be a member. I just refuse to become a member because what's the point? I'd rather be a ticket holder than a member. Like, it's just, I just don't know what they're doing there, So,
do you believe a culture of non-accountability within a board can filter through to the playing group?
Not really, but I think a culture of accountability can lead to continued failure. So, is Justin Pascoe not doing a good job accountable for Dane Laurie dropping 3 balls against New Zealand, or Toa and Nofaluma dropping a ball on the weekend? Probably not. But I think things like not having 2 of your leading players being allowed to fly up to the Gold Coast, to be with the team, and like I said, who knows? Adam Dwayne, he might have been sitting in the box with Madge and said, "Hey, Madge, don't take the goal kick for touch. Let's keep him down." You don't know. Like, it all makes a difference. But I just think the fact that the coach can't get what he wants, it's a vote and no confidence in Madge. But how do you work under that? So put Craig Bellamy there, in my opinion, it wouldn't make any difference. We might go from 13th to 10th, but you just need everyone being one team. And I think the biggest problem with the board, and like I say, I'm an outsider. I just think they all think they're doing a great job, and they tap each other on the back, and they're turning a profit. Congratulations.
Yeah, yeah, and if you look at some of your top clubs like Melbourne or Roosters, you don't hear a lot about their board because their coach are so well backed and so well supported. I mean, we've had so many coaches as a club. Surely that has to be some sort of just a blight on our reputation that, as soon as the shit hits the cans, we're just turning over coaches. How many different style of coaches does the club need? We've tried every style that's out there.
Technically, only sacked 2 coaches, though. Like that's what they'll keep coming back and saying. We sacked Sheens and sacked Taylor. They never renewed Potter. They had a caretaker coach. Cleary left of his own accord. I mean, if we sack Madge, it'll be 3 in 11 years. So,
but it's still a high turnover of coaches.
It's a high turnover, but I think the problem too with the board is when, as a club, when shit hits a fan, we blame someone, sack someone, and like I say, I love Madge. I'm a fan of his character. He's resilient. I'm not a fan of some of his tactical stuff, but he's the sort of guy that we need, and like in front office, like he's the sort of guy we need with that passion. Like you look at his face at full time, that's all of us supporters. You look at Justin Pascoe at full time, and he's flicking his hair and couldn't give 2 shits, So
yeah.
I just think we need a bit more passion there and a bit more desperation. You can still be cool, you can still make rational decisions, but I just think we need more Tiger people there. There's just not, and I don't mean that as a disrespectful thing to Magpie. We need West Tigers.
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
If Pascoe gets a job tomorrow somewhere else, I mean, he might not, care too much about the place. I don't know.
And it kind of brings me on to, can I talk about the other topic too, Josh?
Yeah, I think that's the one I've got in your little caption at the bottom there. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm an ex-Balmain, so I'm old enough to remember the 80s, but I'm kind of getting really tired of the Balmain versus Magpies argument and debate that continues to go on, and this. I enjoy going to Combank Stadium. I'll be honest. I like the stadium. I enjoy watching a football game at that stadium. Do I believe that the West Tigers should be playing there? No. But I also believe that the West Tigers need to stop at trying to appease the Balmain faction and the Magpies faction and actually decide on a location that they're going to play at and actually start really having a true home game that they can call their sanction, where like I don't know any other team that have so many different home grounds, and like
thank you.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. And I'm actually thinking Campbelltown is probably the better area, I guess, because of the juniors that are coming, the growing area and the juniors that are coming through. But I could be wrong. But I just feel that West Tigers as its own identity is still not being formed. And like my son, who's 12, doesn't know about Balmain and Magpies, and he couldn't care less. He only knows about West Tigers. I mean, they've been around now for 22 years or so.
Yep.
So when are we going to stop this whole Balmain versus Magpies argument and just start having that identity and finding a place to place that identity?
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever have one home ground. I agree with everything that you said there. I don't remember the 80s as well. I was born in 88, so I don't really remember the 80s. But I do remember Balmain. I do remember going to Leichhardt Oval in the 90s. And a lot of, my whole family, Balmain runs through our blood. But, but we're all West Tigers fans. It's been so long now that, you don't even think about that anymore. And you're 100% right that we need to move on. And the arguments stop when we have success. We've talked about 2005 a lot tonight. We'll talk about 2005 probably the rest of our lives. But in that crowd, there were Magpies jerseys and Balmain jerseys, and we're arm in arm, and do it for Tommy and do it for Laurie Nichols, and everyone was cool with embracing the history of both clubs. And I think we should move forward and stop the arguments, but you still got to embrace the predecessors and know where you come from a little bit as well, but there needs to be a balance to it. But I think what's highly likely for next year, I've been told, is we're going to have more games at Campbelltown. Not sure the ratio exactly. My prediction, I haven't been told what it's going to be, but I reckon 8-4 or maybe 8-3 and one at Tamworth as well. Campbelltown's going to get the majority of the games next year. A few people have commented that as well. Yeah, it's the most of the games should be played in Campbelltown. 100%, we need to embrace that area. I wouldn't go from Leichhardt Oval completely, though. I think Leichhardt, the 3 games a year there, the special days, there's something special about that. Like, I have that affiliation to it and just need that little bit of a fix too. And I guess as our generation gets older and we don't remember the Balmain Tigers, who knows, maybe that. But I think Leichhardt Oval has also become special to West Tigers fans too. Like, how many moments tonight we talked about Benji Marshall and that sort of thing. The moments, the West Tigers moments, both grounds that we've made. So I agree we're going to get rid of CommBank Stadium. I agree it's 100% it's a good stadium, watch footy, but I said it earlier in the year, Shane and I were in the VIP section for the first game against the Storm, and it was cool getting a couple of free beers. Shane had a couple more free ones than I did, but it just didn't feel, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. Like, it was cool, had the players, like, it couldn't have been in any better section. We were literally on top of the Tigers bench, so we were in the best seats in the house, and it's a great stadium no matter where you sit. But it just doesn't have that aura and that feel to it, like
yeah.
And I've heard a lot of non-Tigers fans, like, giving us slack about the other home grounds and saying, how many home grounds you got? And if we go back to the 2, I think that'll stop a little bit. The Dragons have 2 home grounds. They don't do they have the same debate?
Well, they dropped the name Illawarra out of their name a few years ago. So they're kind of, well, do you call them St George Illawarra Dragons, or do you call them just St George Dragons?
True.
I think officially Illawarra is still in their name, isn't it?
I would think it is, but I could be wrong.
Yeah,
Sure.
If you look at a ladder,
I think when it comes to domination of one club over the other, I think looking at the Dragons, our balance between Balmain and West is a lot closer than Dragons and Steelers. I think the Steelers are being completely wiped. Apart from playing some games at Wollongong, the Steel. You're right, 100%. When commentators talk about the Dragons, they talk about like their 12 premierships in a row, or whatever they won, back in the 50s or whatever. Yeah, 11. Sorry. They always bring up that sort of thing, and I guess Balmain maybe slightly gets a bit more coverage, a bit more history, but that could also because of the 88, 89 sort of era, of what, like a huge side, and that was back then. Maybe it's a bit more recency bias rather than anything else there. But yeah, I think we need we need to keep it to 2 grounds, get rid of the CommBank. It's almost certain to happen. My money is definitely on CommBank will be gone next year. The contract's up. And
this year,
so next year it'll go back to 2 home grounds. And Campbelltown's fantastic. Obviously, we're all Balmain background here. I love going to Campbelltown, making the trip out there. The Leagues Club next to the ground's awesome. Like, it's a cool. We just got to get people back there. And the best way is to vote with your feet. It's hard going to the footy when the team's not playing well, but the best way to do this is the Campbelltown and Leichhardt. Leichhardt's been okay, but the Campbelltown crowds haven't been great the last few years, and it's very hard to watch the West Tigers play at the moment anywhere in any ground in the world. But get out to a Campbelltown game and vote with your feet. Get a Campbelltown membership and go watch them out there, because if we get big crowds out there again, and we did 2005, 10, and 11, the crowds were huge out there. So
I think I live in Western Sydney, so I'm actually neutral to both Leichhardt and Campbelltown, but my closest stadium is Penrith, to be honest. But Campbelltown, I have found the timings that whoever puts the bloody timings together for the NRL, you don't put a 6 o'clock Friday game out at Campbelltown. Peak hour traffic. That is just ludicrous. And you're not going to get a majority of the people who are working. Majority of people work. They're not going to be able to get to the game on time anyway at 6 o'clock. Or they do some ridiculous 7:30 in the middle of winter, 7:30 on a Saturday night, where you freeze. You can't even feel your fingers or your face. I just be a little bit smarter about the climate, about where you're playing, just so fans make it a lot easier. You don't want to rug your kids up in thousands of layers and get them out to a game and hope they don't catch some sort of pneumonia.
The issue with that is the NRL choose that, though. So Channel 9 get first dibs at their 3 games, and then the NRL set them. Like it annoys me too when Leichhardt Oval doesn't get. We only got one Sunday at Leichhardt last year, I'm pretty sure. This year we've only got one Sunday, I think, at Leichhardt. Like it sucks that we don't have control of what. It's all about TV these days. Unfortunately, NRL is run to be a TV product. That's where the majority of the money comes from. The crowd, the game day experience just isn't what it used to be. We talked about last week how you don't get the other grades beforehand all the time, and then it's just died. The family day out at the footy and when the team's not playing well, it hurts as well. I think if the team plays well, it'll also bring back. Rob, for once, I've kept you quiet. What are your thoughts on this one?
You guys have summed it up perfectly. Well, as you said, it's the NRL's about making money, and it's all about TV rights. They have tried the last probably 2 years to cater a little bit towards crowds, but not as much as they should. The 6 o'clock game at Campbelltown's a joke. I don't want Carla to bash me, but I'm all for one home ground, but I accept that they'll do 9 and 3 or 8 and 4. But I do think we should have one fortress, and Leichhardt Oval's my favourite place to watch footy at. So, but I just think, as you said, we can't pander to two sides. I still believe we should respect the West Magpie history and the Balmain Tigers history. So, like when they interview, when they go to Benny Elias or Gary Jack or Steve Roach or whatever, even though they're Balmain legends, I still think we're not West Tigers without Balmain or West Magpie. So they're still a part of our extended history. So I don't believe that they shouldn't be interviewing this guy or that guy. But we just have to make decisions for what's best for Western Sydney. And it's as simple as that. I'd love to go to Leichhardt 12 games a year for my own selfish sake, but it's not the right thing to do by the club's future. So whichever way they go, look, they're acting on it now. We know that this is the last year we're using CommBank. And I've never been to CommBank, and I never will go to CommBank. And that's just because I got sick in my stomach that we took a home game of ours to Parramatta and got wiped. So it just never sits well with me. And that's just Pascoe, all about the dollars and not giving a shit about the football. And that's where that stuff from the front office filters down to our results. And it's only one result, but these things mean a lot. I've said to Josh and Shane off air, if we win that Melbourne Storm first game, like maybe if it was played at Leichhardt or Campbelltown, we might have 3 wins now instead of 0. That first win could have just been the catalyst to getting a bit more self-belief and all that sort of stuff. And now we've just got to wait till we get a few troops back like Stefano and Adam and, maybe Tommy Talau and a few of those guys before we win a game. So on everything you've said, we've preached on WestsLife Podcast. So I think it's just leave it.
We love when people come on and agree with us. Rose of Oz made a good point. So normally those grounds we play against the non-Sydney team. So it's pretty cool that we're playing Parramatta at Leichhardt this year. Bulldogs, if the Bulldogs have never played at Leichhardt against the West Tigers before, we're playing them there this year. So that's actually a really good point with the crowds, that if we play Penrith, Parramatta, even Bulldogs. Who else is out west? Those Western Sydney rivals at Campbelltown. The crowd. I mean, it's a lot of away fans that we're going to deal with, but yeah, it's. But at the same time, an away crowd as well. Like the game you always look for in the draw. I don't know about you guys, but I always look for the games when we're playing against like the Roosters and the teams that I have mates that go for them. I kind of circle them as games like we have to go to. I've got a mate that lives in Wollongong, so I would really love to get down and watch his Dragons play against us in Wollongong. So I guess if you're playing a Sydney team too, it motivates more West Tigers fans to go along with their friends of that team as well.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's such a good TV product. You're more likely to stay at home with your mates on your couch rather than paying $17 in tolls to go out to Campbelltown and sit in the freezing cold. But the West Tigers, and if we're going to make, it's a lot of effort, and with kids, obviously, it's a good point you said too, Kathy, in that cold weather. Those, man, you're 100% right. The cold of Campbelltown in the middle of winter at night is just like it's insane. Like it's
yeah. Can't feel you. If I can just finish off, thanks for letting me come on today. If I can just finish off, I'm a CommBank West Tigers member, and I was at the Melbourne game, and I was really impressed with Jackson Hastings, and I think we should all be really excited about him this year. He was the only one and the only player I've seen for years. After they've scored or did something really good, he came back to the crowd and he would clap to the crowd and get us all like excited and motivated to cheer the boys on, and I just really liked his attitude, and I think we should be really excited about him.
Absolutely. He's it sucks that he was dangled in front of us like a new toy and then taken away from us. Bloody shit decision at the judiciary, and just off the field he seems like such a cool dude as well, and just like great for the culture. He definitely made an impact already in the few games that he's played. But
we need to play more games at Redcliffe. I love that.
Well, you're a Dolphins fan from next year, Fred, obviously, but
Bit funny.
Yeah. Right. Thanks, Kathy. We do have a video. I brought you on last because Rob really does want to answer the questions from this. We had biggest T. Are you aware of the what would you call biggest T? The influence is an influencer. Is big on the socials. Are you aware of the biggest T? The character, the biggest T, Kathy?
No,
biggest tiger. Are you not? Okay. Well, he submitted a video question to us. So if you want to stick around and help Rob answer these, because he's having a lot of trouble with these. So I'll just
not that there's anything wrong with that.
And you need being from the 80s as well, you might have some good answers that you can help. You guys can discuss the best of the 80s in this one as well.
Straight away, no problem.
Right, this is Big T wanted to be on the show tonight to discuss this, but instead he couldn't make it, so he sent in his discussion by video. So enjoy.
Hello, gentlemen. I'm so sorry I can't make this episode. You know I'd love to. Just sometimes life doesn't want you to be there live, but as pre-record experts that we are, we can do this now. My question, there are two questions, essentially the same thing, but I just really want to talk about the same topic twice. So I would love to know the best looking current West Tigers. In fact, I'm going to give you three of the best in the current squad, and then I'd like 5 of the best looking West Tigers all time. Now, of course, I've had an opportunity to quickly think about this, so here are my 3. Now, I'm even so far to say that these are in order. I don't expect yours to be in order. But number 1 for me is Dane Laurie. That cheeky face, the speed, great arms without being like too ridiculous. But yeah, there's something about that bloke and his excellent use of a moustache that's certainly getting my juices flowing. More facial hair. And look, this is a new one. I'm not sure. Maybe it's because I've still filled with hope, and so there's a lot of romance with that. But Oliver Gildart, I'm feeling could be great, especially if you're on a messy night out. Love to go home with that, and the great arms there. Again, not like crazy imposing, but sick tattoos as well. Tattoos are great. And then I'm going to round us off with Sean Blore. More facial hair. I'm learning a lot about me. Much bigger arms in this one, and I'm also realizing I like dude's arms. But great face, just an absolute vibe. Cute smile, like all about it. Big shout outs though, so to honourable mentions. Zane Musgrove has if he's got blue eyes, I'm not 100% sure, but that all of that facial hair and that kind of steely blue eyes looks great. Luke Garner, also big fan. I think Luciano Leilua, I don't know if he's ugly or not, but I just think he's so talented that I think I accidentally find him hot. And then, I just think by pure cuteness, maybe Luke Brooks, like he's kind of like the cousin of a cousin that's kind of like dating your cousin. You're like, oh, he's kind of cute. Yeah, I can see why you date him. So wouldn't be in the top three, but I wouldn't say Luke's ugly, is probably what I'm saying, on the island. I don't know if you could be on that island, you could think he's ugly. So now if we go all time, I get 5 straight away. Benji Marshall. Like, not even, let's just get the Benji elephant out of the room. Benji Marshall is so good looking. He's TV good looking. Plus also the extreme talent, all of the, horny footballness he's given me for 1,000 years. Benji Marshall, definitely number one with a bullet. Chris Lawrence before the most recent version of his face. I hate to say it. I'm not laughing at him. No, he obviously a very attractive guy. He's had some upgrades which didn't help his attractiveness, but he's already got all the things you might need to attract people. So that's fine. He's looking great. Kevin Nguama, incredible arms, shoulders, great head of hair. No facial hair in that one, and neither does Benji really. But Kevin Nguama's definitely in there. Michael Cheekham, still playing, but obviously all time he's in there. I think tall, loved his basketball, which I think's hot. Great head. I don't know how many I've had now. Obviously, he's got a great head. I've got no idea how we would go at giving head. I'm sorry to imply that as well to you, G-Cam. And this is going to be quite controversial because he played maybe 3 games for us, but Matt Ballin, what a face. Good face. He's on low Zads, which also helped because obviously having yourself next to Siranen always helps because everyone next to Siro looks fantastic. But Matt Ballin, extremely handsome man, played with us for 25 seconds, did some coaching as well. Great bloke. I think that's 5. I didn't actually keep count. I've just been too overwhelmed with swooningness. Obviously, shout out to Noff. He's still playing for us, obviously, but good looking bloke. Tommy Talau, I got no idea where that poor bloke is in the world as well, but he was very handsome. He's still a kid though, so it's a bit hard. My final shout out also goes to Keith Galloway. Great head, just great facial features, great beard, great arms, big buffy bloke, which I guess is attractive. So yeah, if I didn't make 5, you can pick one out of those ones as well. Very interested to see if I have a particular type and that you blokes have very different opinions. Obviously, Benji Marshall is going to be on everyone's list, but I'm interested to see where everyone goes after that. Thanks. So if I don't see you at Magic Round, I'll see you in the final series when we're buying tickets to that. And I look forward to listening to this episode and the Robbie Farah episode for the 6th or 7th time.
He spent a lot of time thinking about this this answer. He's one of a kind. Big T is Kathy, but he certainly gave us plenty of time to have a think with his 5-minute video. Then I think we lost 20% of our live audience, but a bit of a fun one to finish. We've got a few comments. Joe suggesting Robbie, Benji, Bo Ryan, Pat Richards, Carla's named almost a starting 13 here. AD, Jacko, Noff, Twally, Luch, Farah, Benji, Bo, Woodsy, and Princey. Any thought, Kathy? Have you got any off the top of your heads? Are there any that from
in the current? Oliver Gildart would have to be number one
Okay.
at the moment. Followed by, and that's because he's got a cute face. Followed by Twal. You cannot go past that mean-looking man with the best bod I have seen in
His
a long
arms are
time.
incredible.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I pray that he scores a try. That bloke deserves a try. And the third one, from a good-looking perspective for me, would be Luke Garner. And I just like the way the bloke plays. I just think hats off to him in the last couple of weeks at centre. He defends really well, and I think he's done well. I actually feel sorry for him that he's stuck out there. Top 5 of all time, Ryan would have to be up there. Benji, Nofa. I actually like the face of his name. He was a forward, blue eyes.
Darren Senna.
No. He played.
Blue eyes.
He left us and went to Cronulla.
Hyington?
Bryce
Like
Gibbs.
No, they're backs.
Hang on. Who was the centre, Josh? I've just gone blank.
Well, you said forward.
No, he was
Andrew Fafita.
Forward, was he?
Yeah, no, not Fafita.
Can anyone help Kathy out in the comments?
Josh Morris. Josh Morris?
No, I see.
John Morris, I should say. Not
Morris.
Yeah. Bryce Gibbs.
Oh, Gibbo. Oh.
Yeah, I said Gibbs.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I missed that.
That's okay.
So that's 4. Oh, 5th one, good looking. Probably an area the West Tigers aren't strong in.
Balmain Tigers were much stronger, Kathy.
You got to have Junior's a coach. You can sneak Junior in there.
No, Junior's not in the top 5.
Wow.
I go Wayne Wigham, David Brooks, Wayne Miranda, David Grant, Stephen Knight, for anyone that remembers those players.
I'm glad we finally got you to answer this. You were refusing to answer this before.
Well, I was going to. You know what we should do, Josh? Why don't we ring Marcelo Montoya up and ask him?
That joke's gone out.
You got okay.
Okay, yeah. I'm not going there. I might.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Man, you just got to be comfortable. I'm married and comfortable to answer. Totally comfortable to answer this. You mentioned Kevin Nagama in there. Kevin Nagama's rig is like insane. If you can probably Google Kevin Nagama shirtless. Maybe do it in incognito mode on your computer. His rig was like the Fijian genetics are just like insane. They're just literally rock hard with a little bit of training. They just look. Gareth Ellis, Grant Thomas, just suggested. Yeah, he was a good-looking guy. I'm trying to think. I'm married to an Italian, so maybe Anthony LaFranchi can be one of the past players for me. Who else? I mean, Junior. My late mum loved Junior Pearce growing up. She's a bit closer, similar era to Rob. So Junior Pearce was always her favourite, and he's obviously in that famous shot with Tina Turner in his Speedos.
He just didn't age well. He hasn't aged well.
Junior Pearce?
Yeah, I don't think
he's 60 and he looks amazing. He looks. I reckon he looks sensational for 60.
Okay.
Got to get old sometime.
Yeah, I reckon he looks fantastic for a 60-year-old. He hasn't drank a drop of alcohol, so if it hasn't, he's kind of wasted his life, hasn't he? If it hasn't helped him age, but Ciro's a good one. I know we're going into Balmain era here. Yeah, Ciro, good looking. Ellery Hanley, He was a good looking
He
dude.
looks amazing now. Still, he looks the same.
Yeah, he looks fit
Incredible.
as still. Your Bo Ryans and your Blake Ashfords, they've all got that like Captain America.
Did Big T know this was a Ventpod?
Did Big T what? Sorry.
Did he know it was a Ventpod?
Well, it doesn't. We've had a good variety of topics. I thought this was a fun one.
It is a fun one
to finish on, and I'm proud of you, Rob, to have given you answers in this. What about Scotty Gale? Surely he's up there.
Love him.
Yeah.
Great player.
Any other suggestions in the comments before we head off, guys? But Kathy, thanks for staying on for that one. It could have gone anywhere.
Thanks, Kathy.
Could have got cancelled a couple of points in there. But thanks to everyone for tuning in tonight, and thanks to everyone for following along. What's the score on the footy, Rob?
It's over. The Cowboys have won 18-12 after trailing 12-0 at halftime.
There you go. And if you're listening to this on delay, that will mean absolutely nothing to you. But Kathy, we always finish the show. I'll let you take Big Shane's spot. Do you listen to the show regularly?
Probably not regularly enough to know what Big Shane ends with.
Okay, so we always just follow my lead. With Rob. As always, go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Thanks, everyone.